Yeah, pause YouTube. What's up? How's it going, everybody? Have for y'all today the team builder for week 5 of PGBL season 2. And this week, guys, the team builder is going to be a little bit different, and I'll get into that in a second. Now, if you may have missed my week 4 battle, a link to that should be down in the description or somewhere on the screen, somewhere over there for you guys to check out. So of course, if y'all do enjoy the team builder and you're excited for this week 5 match, make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below and let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about our squad and what you think about our team matchup, which is down below me. Now, this is another kind of like curveball that the PGBL has thrown into its seasons. I think this was around last season, I'm not entirely too sure, but so this week we are facing the Cincy Scizors, coached by Vizually. Some of you guys may know who Vizually is. He is another PokeTuber who uploads predominantly Wi-Fi battles as well. If you don't know who he is, his channel link will be down below, as well as a link to all the other coaches, so just go down the list and you guys will be able to find them. But the thing about this matchup is that he is our quote-unquote rival for this season of the PGBL. Essentially what that means is that we have to face him again, but we don't face him again until week 7. So not only do we play him for week 5, but the week after next we're gonna have to play him again. And because we do have to play him again, I don't want to necessarily bring my A1 prep or bring exactly the best mons that I can possibly bring to this battle. So just kind of keep that in mind as you guys watch this. Also, I will be I think what I'm gonna do is kind of like blur out some stuff, just because I don't want to necessarily give away all of our text that we have on these mons, because these mons may have to come again in our week 7 game. I don't know, we will see how things go. So yeah, I'll worry about all the editing later when I have to get into that. So I am doing this after we had the initial week 5 battle, but I will try to not kind of like spoil anything for you guys and kind of just keep things on like the DL and not try to give away too much information essentially. So yeah, we'll see how things go, but let's go ahead and take a look at this team preview. So obviously you guys can see that my opponent has a very terrifying core of Mega Lopunny and Hoopa Unbound. Now the good thing about this matchup is that part of me almost kind of feels like he's not gonna bring Hoopa. That's why I kind of have it like 5th most scary mom, because looking at the matchup, I realistically feel like he needs to bring Lopunny. Lopunny is definitely his best Pokemon in this battle. Weezing can be a little bit of a nuisance for us to deal with, but it won't be entirely too much of a problem. Decidueye is literally his only answer to Zygarde. Like, look at Zygarde and look at his team. Yeah, Zygarde pretty much just puts in nothing but the work, so that's pretty awesome. So that's kind of why I expect them to bring Decidueye, maybe like Roost Hidden Power Ice or something along those lines in case we're set up potentially. Zapdos also has a really good matchup in this game as well, because it can be just a giant nuisance to deal with. Steelix realistically is his best answer to my Mega Diancie, which Mega Diancie and Zygarde just put in so much work against his team, so that's going to be really good. So the top 6 Pokemon are definitely the ones I expect them to bring. Primarina could potentially come, but I mean, I have a Serena, I have a Vaporeon, and I have a Snorlax, so part of me almost feels like he's not going to want to bring that. Then again, if he doesn't bring Primarina, he doesn't really have a good switch in to my Infernape, so we'll see how things go on that. Cryogonal, Haxorus, and Talonflame are the 3 I really do not expect whatsoever. I personally think that all 3 of them have an absolutely terrible matchup, so I don't expect them to want to bring either of them. Actually, I just think Talonflame in general is a really bad Pokemon, so we'll see how things go if he maybe potentially wants to bring one of those 3. But I think with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So our first team member that we will be bringing is going to be Guerrero, the Infernape. Infernape has a really really nice matchup in this battle. Honestly, Infernape's really difficult for his entire draft to comfortably switch into, regardless if we're like Life Orb, Banded, Specs, Scarf, or like set up with Nasty Plot or Sword Dance potentially. Regardless of that, there's not really too much that he can safely switch into against our Infernape, which is going to be really nice. So yeah, don't expect them to be too prepared for this, especially if we're able to get up Stealth Rocks. Just in general, Infernape has an absolutely amazing matchup, because with our dual stab and appropriate coverage moves, then we can just body his entire team. And I personally feel like running dual stab on Infernape in this matchup is a no-brainer. So yeah, definitely can put in work. Then we have those coverage moves to be able to do a little bit more work as well. Next off, we have Tego the Necrozma. I actually want to give a quick shouts out to my front office homies and my my Bullet Punch Club homies. I don't exactly remember who specifically helped me, because there was a bunch of other games I had to prep for, but just thank you to my boys that did help me prep for this. So we have Necrozma here, which Necrozma I think is absolutely necessary this matchup, mainly because this is probably my best answer to the Lopunny. And the thing about Mega Lopunny in this battle is that he can honestly just run Adamant max attack and still be able to outspeed everything on my team, regardless of he can outspeed everything on my team bar my speed boost Scolipede at +1 and potentially a Scarfer or a boosted Zygarde. So I definitely expect them to bring Lopunny. Again, it's a really no-brainer to bring to this game. Like, Mega Lopunny has an absolutely amazing matchup personally. And originally this was going to be Moonlight Stealth Rocks with Photon Geyser and X-Scissor, but I really felt like I wanted to have Heat Wave on this set, mainly because I didn't want my possible only answer to Steelix to be my Infernape. If anything, by having Heat Wave on my Necrozma here, we can actually 2-hit KO even a max Spadef, max HP Steelix, as long as he's not running something like Protect. So that's going to be really handy. Heat Wave also helps us do some decent damage to the Decidueye, which we can 2-hit KO depending on his HP and Spadef investment. Photon Geyser absolutely mollywops the Mega Lopunny. We do good damage to the Primarina. We OHKO the Weezing if it's not... Actually, no, I don't think we OHKO even if it is physically defensive. But regardless, we guarantee always 2-hit KO Weezing with Photon Geyser. We do a really good amount of damage to the Talonflame, and I think I already mentioned Haxorus. And Zapdos is also taken a pretty nice chunk of damage depending on his HP investment. Then X-Scissor is solely there for the Hoopa Unbound. So best case scenario that happens with this set is that he tries to bring in Hoopa against my Necrozma, thinking that he can knock me out with a Specs or a Banded hit, Banded Dark move or Specs Dark move, and I guarantee live the hit thanks to not only Colbur Berry, but also thanks to Prism Armor and the fact that Necrozma has some pretty nice natural bulk, since we are running a lot of bulk investment into this Necrozma to be able to mainly deal with the Lopunny. But this also kind of acts as an answer to the Hoopa, because unless Hoopa is running max HP, we should always guarantee knock him out with the X-Scissor. So that's going to be absolutely amazing, and I really don't expect them to bring something like max HP Trick Room Hoopa. I've seen him run that before. I think he ran that in like week 1 or week 2 of the PGBL, but I don't expect them to run it this time around, because just Hoopa in general is absurdly terrifying, man. Like, Hoopa is such a pain in the ass to switch into, but it's kind of easy to check. But just if I don't play well around the Hoopa, essentially Hoopa just puts in so much work, and I'm really hoping that this set just kind of catches him off guard. And we'll see how things go. So next off, we have Snorlax. Now this is not at all the exact set I wanted to bring, because I will be 100% honest with you guys right now. I ended up bringing the completely wrong Snorlax to this battle. Like, legitimately, these moves are not at all what I wanted to have on my Snorlax. So since we are going to be facing Vizually again in week 7, I don't want to give away the exact moves I wanted to bring. So I'm just going to be going over what Snorlax's role was in this battle. It was mainly just here to check the Primarina. It could also check the Wheezing, it could also check the Zapdos potentially, and maybe even the Decidueye, and we could just go from there. We could also weaken the Haxorus if it was a Swords Dance set. We could get off enough damage to the point where we might have been able to try and revenge kill him, so that could have been really nice. We also would have been able to deal with Specs Primarina regardless of the set or special attack investment. So essentially, if it was Specs Primarina, like modest Specs Primarina, we should have been able to deal with it. But yeah, that's all I kind of want to say about Snorlax, is that it was kind of just here to check most of his specially offensive mons, and then we could also pressure some of his other mons that maybe tried to set up against us. So moving on to the next team member, we have Samantha the Scolipede, which this late game can realistically kind of just knock out and deal with his entire team. Like, there's not really too much that he has to deal with Scolipede late game, unless he does bring Talonflame and I'm not able to get off at least 1% of damage. Then there's absolutely nothing that Scolipede realistically has to deal with late game. And what I mean by late game is that we have Wheezing weakened, we have Steelix weakened, we have Zapdos weakened, we have potentially like Kabaya Berry physically defensive Primarina weakened, we have Hoopa weakened, and maybe Lopunny's gone, or I know that Lopunny's not gonna have Fake Out or something along those lines. And just, yeah, Scolipede late game definitely poses a humongous issue to his team. So moving on to the next team member here, we got Mega Diancie, aka Carmela. Now, I originally wanted to make this Mega Diancie for the sake of showing off the Teambuilder, but I already knew that people were going to be complaining and talking about, oh, why'd you hack your Diancie to make it Mega? Isn't that against the rules? Well, obviously Mega Diancie doesn't go through Wi-Fi, so I would use a regular Diancie, but just I don't want to deal with those sheep, so we just have regular Diancie here. And again, not showing like any of like the specific EV spreads or like stats or anything along those lines, but I am showing off most of the moves that I did show. I think I did show off all these moves except for maybe Earth Power. I don't even remember, to be honest with you guys, but for the sake of it, it doesn't really matter if he knows that we have Earth Power. I think Earth Power is like pretty much a given since he has Steelix, and Earth Power is realistically our only way to hit Steelix for good damage, so I feel like he would expect me to have Earth Power. So yeah, but mainly Mega Diancie along with Infernape and along with Scolipede can honestly just pressure so much of his team, not to mention that he doesn't really have too many safe switch-ins to defensive 3 attacks Necrozma. So the idea was kind of to pressure his team with our Infernape and Diancie, and then Scolipede can come in late game and sweep. So Stealth Rocks is super nice on the set, because if we can get ourselves in a scenario of where we can force him to switch out, then that could essentially give us free Stealth Rocks, which is going to be really, really nice. Something like Assault Vest Steelix is a set, that came to mind, but even if he does bring Assault Vest Steelix, I'm not entirely too concerned about it, because with all the offensive pressure that we have, with the super effective moves that we have, we can definitely do enough damage to the Steelix, wear it down eventually to where we can just beat it and not have to worry about it. Plus, Steelix is literally his only Stealth Rocker, so if he doesn't bring Steelix, he doesn't have Stealth Rocks. Oh, sorry, if he doesn't bring Assault Vest Steelix, or just doesn't bring Steelix in general, then he doesn't have Stealth Rocks, which makes the matchup even better for me and makes it a lot easier. So yeah, if he doesn't bring Steelix, I will gladly take that. If he does bring it and it's Assault Vested, I still don't have to worry about rocks. If he does bring Spadef, Rock Steelix in general, then it's still gonna be pretty easy for us to deal with, at least in theory anyways. Like, I'm not too concerned about it. It's just trying to get off that essential like 40-50-ish% so we can guarantee deal with it with the rest of our squad. But regardless though, there's not much that he has to safely switch into this Diancie in general, so that's going to be really good as well. And then finally off, we have Klefki's aka Child's play here, and this is kind of my switch-in. I say switch-in because Hoopa has no real switch-ins. Like Specs Hoopa and Banded Hoopa can just straight to a KO any type of Klefki I realistically want to bring. But the great thing about this specific set is that if I do switch in and I live any one hit from the Hoopa, I can then go either for Reflect or I can go for Light Screen. And then if he doesn't even bring the Hoopa, then I don't even have to worry about it, because then at that point I can use Klefki kind of as a pivot mon. I can spread Toxics around to the Zapdos, to the Talonflame, the Primarina, the Decidueye, and then I can spam Play Rough against his team. Of course, unless he does have the Weezing, which I think Weezing does have a good enough matchup to come to this game, honestly. Whether it be physically defensive or specially defensive, I feel like Weezing does have a solid matchup in this battle. But if he doesn't have Weezing or Hoopa, that would be absolutely perfect. And then if he doesn't have Steelix, hey, it's even better. But I definitely expect at least one or two of those three to come. Actually, potentially all three could come, realistically thinking about it, but we'll see how things go. But yeah, Klefki just kind of functions on this team as a pivot mon, maybe is able to get dual screens for the rest of our mons, and then we can spread around Toxic. So yeah guys, that is going to be the team for this week. Let me know in the comment section below what y'all think about our matchup. Check out Vizually. Also make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow with the actual battle itself. So thank you all for watching. Later, everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends. It's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6-foot hacks. 6 foot hacks. Yeah. 6 foot hacks. Yeah. 6 foot hacks.